Hello everybody, welcome to Bubba's Corners worship page. My name is Bubba. Thank you for coming in. Been a while since I made a video for this page. Been looking around for some better content and stuff, and we found a few good things and stuff, but I just want to give you another one of my little old testimonies about my belief in Jesus Christ. I remember it was a few years back, oh gosh, been about 3-4 years now. My mother was in the hospital. She was dying, and she had aneurysm on her brain, and she was really losing it, you know. But my sister came back from Chicago. I was up in Minneapolis with her for a while. My daughter was taken care of, moved her into her apartment, and it was pretty hard to take care of her because she would lose track. One minute she'd be, you know, a little teenager, and then she'd be an old lady, and then she'd be a teenager, and it was pretty tough. My daughter had a hard time, so they had to put her in a nursing home. And I got the call that she was back in the hospital. I got back up to cities there, and went to the hospital and saw her and stuff, and we got things squared away, and that's when we got moved in with my daughter, and the daughter couldn't take care of it, so they put her back in the hospital. I came home, and I didn't know if anything was going to work, you know. And she started slipping while I was gone on the last trip, and I got a call from my brother, and he's ripping into me about my daughter taking care of her and stuff, and what gave her the right. No, it's nasty how families can fight sometimes, you know. But my daughter's a good kid, you know, and nobody wanted anything to do with my mom because you know, she took off when we were little, and she's an alcoholic, you know, and I ended up following around with her and stuff, and in reform schools and orphanages because of my mom's drinking problems and stuff, you know. But my other brothers and sisters lived with their father, my stepfather, and they had it pretty good, you know. Me and my sister, we went in and out of these group homes, foster homes, and stuff like that, you know. But we were always around Mom, you know, and you know, worked out in oil fields, and I was living downstairs from my mom, and her old man was a big drunk, nicest guy in the world when he was sober. When he was drunk, oh, the meanest son of a in the world. So I used to fight her battles for her all the time, you know. But this last time I was stuck on the road, and she was dying. I just know it. Driving along, flipping around radio stations, I found a prayer channel. And I tell you, you know, I love my mom, even though it wasn't an easy life for her or me, but she was my mom. I loved her, you know. And I got talking to these people on the prayer channel, and I was praying, you know. And that morning, I finally found a place. I couldn't make it any farther. I made it to the Minnesota border. I was coming up from Arizona, I think it was, and got up to the Minnesota border there and camped out for the night. Got a couple hours sleep. My sister called me and told me Mom was gone, you know. And yeah, she said, I believe she's in heaven, Bobby. I said, well, I think so, because my sister told me that all night she was up praying, my daughter was praying, my wife was praying, my other daughters were praying, and my son-in-law, or not my son-in-law, but my brother-in-law, he got up about the same time we were up there praying. He was still down in Chicago, and his two daughters, one is in Ohio, one is in southern Minnesota, they both got up at the same time, never even talked to each other. We all got praying for her mom and her grandma. And got home, you know, went to the funeral and everything. And, you know, her brothers didn't want me to, you know, get up and say anything about the Lord, you know, at the funeral. Couldn't help it, had to. I got up there and I read off my little deal I wrote. And the family feuded quite a bit, you know. And but I don't know what was in the words I said, or the power of the Lord's words, where they were. Some of my aunts got up and they were hugging each other. They hadn't talked to each other in years. But it was kind of a funny thing when we put my mom in the ground over there at the graveyard. Everybody asked where the meal was going to be served, and I pointed over towards where that little town was. It was about a half mile across the field there. But there was an opening in the trees, and just as I pointed over, this big old hawk just took off and started flying towards the place. It just brought a sense of peace over me, you know. And a lot of people think, oh, I saw superstition, this, that. I don't believe that, you know. The Bible talks about lots of things about animals, eagles and bears and lions, you know. They're all God's creatures. And it even talks about in heaven where there's creatures with a lion's head, you know, and the head of an eagle, you know. Anyways, that was it was a pretty hard time, but I guess what I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's always hope, you know. When my mom was in the hospital, I mean, she would be just as loving as can be, and be right on cue on the communication. Then next thing you know, she'd look at me, she'd ask me who I was, you know. And she kept the filthiest language you ever heard, you know. And then all of a sudden she'd be just sweet as pie again, you know. And her boyfriend and my youngest daughter is sitting there, who is she talking to? And she's mumbling off, and I just told them, I said, you know, she's getting close to death. It's a battle for her soul. There's angels in this room, and there's demons in this room, you know. They all want to take her, you know. And you'll say, well, Bob, she was a sinner. Well, there was a point in your life where she was a Christian, you know, and all I was praying, and all these things she was going back and forth. She was fighting with them demons. They were all around her bedside, you know. And I'm no expert on anything, but there's just some things that you just feel them, and you believe them, you know. The church tells us this and that and the other, you know. But to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen, I think most of the churches are lost today, you know. And when I say church, I mean the brick and mortar, you know, and the spirit inside is dead. A lot, not all of them. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of fine churches out there. But see, we get messed up when we say the church. The church is the body of Christ. The body. And brick building withers away, but the body is the spirit, and the spirit lives forever. So, where two or more people come together in my name, that's the church. You know, like anybody out there that hears my voice right now, you listen to me and trying to understand what I'm saying. We are the body of Christ. We are in His Spirit. We're trying to promote His ways and His and what He would do, you know, and promote His greatness and His majesty, you know. I'm just a dumb truck driver, but there's some things I've seen that you just can't explain away, you know. I've seen people go off the road and roll 100 times and walk away from it. They should have never done it, myself included. I've been so close to death, I don't know, so many times I can't even count them. But by the grace of God, He's saved me from every one, you know. I always thought it was me that did it, but it wasn't me. It was God's hand reaching down and pulling me out of the grips of death, you know. But you gotta forgive me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really beat up, tired. I've been trying to get everything lined up with all 3 websites now. I got BubbasTruckStop.com's up and running. I got to get something going on over there. I published it by mistake, but I've been doing a lot of store work, trying to get the store working so that I can devote full time to this. It was my dream of having a website for truck drivers, and this is included. This one ended up being for anybody who wants to come in, but it's based out of the trucking part of my life. But Bubba's Truck Stop is open just for truck drivers now. 4-wheelers, you can go over there and visit too, but there are going to be some pages over there that I'm going to have a membership only for truck drivers. It's just a place for them to rest, you know. But getting back to this story about my mother, you know, at the funeral, night before the funeral, I prayed. As I remember, if you look down in that other testimonial video I got down further down the page about when my brother passed away, I had that vision, you know. Another driver said I was called up in the presence of God. I believe that now. But I asked for that same thing, for somebody to see my mother, and see if she made it or not, you know. And I was hoping it was going to be one of my brothers and sisters, you know, from her second marriage, you know. Because I love my brothers and sisters there, but because I follow Christ, they don't want nothing to do with me anymore, you know. And the Bible says that they'll you know, condemn you because of him, you know. So that's true. And I, you know, I love the Lord, and I still love my brothers and sisters over there in Minnesota. And you know, but they think that, and a lot of people think that once you get Christianity, you know, you believe in the Lord, you think you're better than everybody else. You're not. You're actually worse, because you've been given the word and the sight, and we still go back to the worldly ways. So actually, we're worse off than they are, because once you learn the responsibility and you don't carry it out, well, then you're held accountable. So I have a lot of things to be answered for, but I never give up loving my Lord. He's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me in my life. And you know, first thing I spot off my breath, out of my mouth is when I wake up is blessed be the Lord. You know, I mean, He's given me everything, and but I wanted somebody in the family to, you know, have that, maybe, you know, promote the Lord, you know, through my mother's death. And it was about 2 weeks later, my father called me, and me and him had been warned for a long time, you know. And not really warned, I mean, back in the day we did, but I held a grudge about it all my life, you know. I didn't want nothing to do with my father. But the Lord brought us back together, and got a chance to get to know my stepmother, who I hated very much. We ended up talking hours on the phone about the Lord. So it's amazing what God can do to your life if you just give Him the chance. But my dad calls me up and said, Bobby, he says, and don't tell everybody it's my real name now. He says, Bobby, I had a dream about your mom. I said, yeah? He says, yeah, I dreamed that you and Nancy, me and my sister Nancy, were the only two siblings that came out of that marriage. So she's the only full-blooded sibling I have. But he said, she looked, we were standing next to my father, and we were looking up in the sky, and my mom was up there, and she was rising up above us, and she was young like she was when my dad and her were married. And she was just smiling at us and waving at us goodbye, you know. I said, phew, wow, you know. I guess there was hard feelings between my mom and my dad, and there they had a chance to make peace, and that's something, you know. If only we just paid attention, you know. And I still don't pay attention very good. I'm trying, and I believe I'm a better person now than I was before I started knowing the Lord. And I got a long ways to go, But you know, it's by grace alone that we are saved. You know, there's nothing we can do to earn our way into heaven. There's no way we can buy our way, and we can't give away enough. You know, it's all given to us through God's precious Son, Jesus Christ. So you know, to carry all that, you know, me and my sister, we should have been tore up, messed up, you know. She should end up being on the street, and I should have been either in prison or dead, you know, because the way, you know, we grew up, you know, we never had no teachings. But it's by the grace of God, you know. He kept His hand upon us all through our lives, and I never even realized it, you know. But that's all I got to say tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this page. It's going to get better, I promise. I'm trying to find a way to make the store and a couple other things make money, so I can devote more time to the creativity of the website, instead of trying to take care of the whole function by myself, you know. To do all the SEOs and stuff to keep the traffic coming in, it's a mind-boggling job. And these guys got the education, they got the software, so as soon as I can take care of that, we'll get to that. So, but hey, we hope you come in and take a look at the store. BubbasOutlet.net, it's hooked up to the store. Hope you come in and take a look around. And I hope you keep coming back. And remember now, you could you know, email us if you've got a story about the Lord you'd like to share with the world, or a video you'd like to see put up. Hey, let us know. We're more than glad to hear from you. God bless you. Bye-bye.